Your forecast first with KSN Storm Track 3, sponsored by X Services.
Good morning, Kansas. Your Kansas Today crew on day 4 of the KSN summer road trip. Right now, we're in Garden City. I have Eddie and Alexis next to me. They'll talk more about exactly where we are.
This is Kansas Today on KSN News 3.
Good morning, Kansas, and thank you so much for starting your Thursday with us. I'm Eddie Randall.
I'm Alexis Padilla.
And I'm meteorologist Ronell Williams.
As Ronell just mentioned in first forecast, that it is day 4 of the KSN summer road trip. We are live at Patrick Dugan's Coffee House, and we're having a good time. We got to Garden City last night.
This is my first time in Garden City, and I'm excited to finally see it because we have stories all the time, but to actually see it in person and meet everyone is really nice.
Yeah, and Eddie, you know, day 4, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I think it was, we were in Scott City, and I mentioned, you know, the days are long, but there's so much fun, and it's already Thursday. It's day 4. Before you know it, you know, everything's going to be all done, so that's why we're just going to soak everything in while we can.
Yeah, it's so important to take everything in, and we're meeting so many great people in so many amazing communities.
I managed to get a cat nap in yesterday, and it gave me some energy for our Scott City stop, so it's very much needed.
I took one of those in Storm Tracker 3 too. As soon as I get out the car, I'm kind of wiping my eyes. Everybody's excited to see us, but yeah, gotta get that caffeine, and I got my water right here.
I don't know how you're functioning without it, Ronell.
I don't know either, but I'm figuring it out. Yeah.
Let's get back out to Garden City for day 4 of the KSN summer road trip. Ronell Williams has our forecast. Ronell?
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Sammy. We do have an active weather day ahead. We are expecting some strong to severe storms later on today. For now, though, things are mainly dry. You can see so through our Garden City sky view camera. But here in Garden City, we are seeing a little bit of cloud cover.
All right, and we are on day 4 of the KSN Summer Road Trip 2023. So many things to see still on our trip. I know today we're going to be hitting up Dodge City, Ulysses first. Yeah. But for the noon show, we'll be in Dodge City for the Boot Hill Museum.
I'm excited to see that, and then after that, we're going to go to Coldwater and then end in Greensburg for our 5 and 6.
Yeah, that's right. Don't worry, I was double checking on my phone. We got all those in order. They're all right, yeah.
Okay, real quick, Ronell, Alexis, what's been your favorite part of at least yesterday?
That's so hard every time you ask.
That's why I asked, so I don't have to answer it.
That's a tough one, just because the entire thing is an experience. You know, it's hard to pinpoint one thing, especially with us kicking off day 4 right now, because we're only going to create more memories as we go through the day ahead. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say everything.
Again, the people. You can't beat it each time.
Absolutely. We've loved the communities. We've loved the people. We've loved meeting seeing so many different places. Let's walk you guys through what we saw on Wednesday. Of course, we checked in with you on Kansas Today. We were live in Waukene. After the show, of course, we hit the road and made our first stop to Hoxie, home of astronaut Nick Hague. And we went to the International Space Station, or he went to the International Space Station in 2019 and conducted hundreds of missions. The Elephant Bistro and Bar rolled out the red carpet with some of the best food I have had, period. Guys, I'm talking about bean dip with raspberries. They had an artichoke dip. It was absolutely amazing. I ate way too much. The business also celebrates 5 years in August. The owners repurposed wood from the building and others in Hoxie for the decor. Then we headed to the Graham County Auto and Art Museum in Hill City. This was the 2nd year in a row that we hit up this place. It has cars from every decade, including one that once belonged to Jackie Kennedy. We went live for KSN News at noon, then ended our stop, or we ended with some food and conversation.
Then moving on, what better way to cool off than with a snow cone? That's what we had in our next stop, Dighton. They were delicious. The town home to about 900. Dozens of them came out to say hi to us. The city park now filled with green grass everywhere. All thanks to recent rain, greening things up after they were brown for so long. Summer officially starts next week, but Dighton's celebrating early. With its annual kickoff to summer, there are many events, including a pickleball tournament, a craft fair, and a car show.
I think it keeps us together. We work together to make it happen. It's a great time. Here in Dighton, Kansas, we are just a family and friends, and we love to be with each other. So it's a great time just to hang out and visit and have a good time.
Their kickoff to summer is all day Saturday.
And then it was to Scott City, where they gave us some outside fun. The town set up bounce houses, big games, and even free tattoos. Okay, when it comes to the big games, we actually played a large game of Connect Four, Alexis and I, with 2 people, I have to say. I won.
You don't need to bring that up.
I won. Alexis and I each got a tattoo, but of course, they are only temporary. And there is a lot of cool stuff here in Garden City.
Including what is known as one of the grandest hotels in the nation. We're talking about the Windsor Hotel. Construction for that 126 hotel started in the 1880s and cost more than $35,000. Today it would be nearly $900,000. The Finney County Preservation Society is working to restore it. So that is really exciting. I hope we get to drive by there before we leave.
Yeah, we got to do that. And we should have a little bit of time.
Also, I just have to say this. I am upset I had to miss the Hoxie stop. I was filming a Here For You spotlight that will air later on, but
I know.
you guys didn't even pack me a plate.
I know. And one of our digital producers, Ryan, who's been kind of keeping everything together, he packed a plate for one of our photographers, and I mentioned it to Alexis, and she was like, "So you know someone packed someone else a plate, and you did not get me any food." I am sorry.
I'm just going to remember that, Eddie. Don't forget.
Well, I didn't play any games with you guys in Scott City just because they were about to fire up the hot dogs, so I was by the grill.
We know where you were.
Well, we are live in Garden City this morning. We have much more news heading your way. Stay with us on Kansas Today.
You're watching Kansas Today with Eddie, Alexis, and Ronell. Good morning.
We are live in Garden City here at Patrick Dugan's Coffee House, and we have met some wonderful people already this morning.
Yeah, people already coming into through the doors, and we've of course found out from the Patrick Dugan staff this morning. They normally open up at 7. They opened up a whole hour early just so we can be here, and the people showed up, so it's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, of course, kicking off day 4 of the KSN summer road trip, and you know this is a nice switch from being in the studio because we usually don't have an audience watching us.
We also don't have delicious coffee. Not saying anything about our station coffee. It's great.
Too late. You said it. You said it. Too late.
You know, one thing that we can all talk about is that in these small towns that we've stopped in, we cannot count the number of times that we have heard people say, everyone knows everyone, and we also know that everyone takes care of everyone. Hill City is just one example. Take a look at this video right here. The nonprofit Writers Inc. is giving back to the community. It got its start after one of Scott Roberts' classmates got diagnosed with leukemia. The group did a poker run and raised money for Robert, and the organization took off from there.
We have a haunted trail ride that we do in the fall. We have many poker runs. We've had barrel racing. We have an annual Graham Jam in Hill City with musicians with Graham County roots that just play in it.
The group helps people in Graham County that are in need. And it's been absolutely great on day 4 of the KSN summer road trip. We were talking to Ronell in the ride from the hotel over to here today. Ronell, we know you keep track of the weather, not only for us as we're moving through the road trip, but all of Kansas, its surrounding counties, its surrounding states, and you're tracking some severe weather.
That's right. But, you know, overall, from day 1, the weather has been pretty favorable for everybody to come out and see us. But, yeah, that will likely change later on today. We do have a chance of seeing some strong to severe storms. But before I get into that severe outlook, let's go ahead and take a quick look outside. We are in Garden City right now.
Yeah, but it has been really nice overall for the road trip. We keep hearing people say compared to the time we came last year at the end of July, it's been pretty cool. I have to say, we have some royalty in Patrick Dugan's today. We just saw Miss Garden City Fiesta walk in with her crown and her sash, and yeah, you were doing the weather.
Busy.
And Alexis goes, I want a crown.
You agreed though.
Yeah. I want one too. So we'll have to check in with KSN and see if they can get us crowns next year.
Yes. So we are still live in Garden City here at Patrick Dugan. Still time to come out and say hi, but until then, more news from Kansas Today.
And let's get your out-the-door forecast. Ronell is live in Garden City this morning.
Yeah, that's right. And it's time to get everybody out the door. When it comes to Garden City, I'm looking outside right now through Patrick Dugan's Coffee House windows. We do have a little bit of cloud cover farther east. Looking at fair skies, mainly dry all the way through the lunch hour, but then by later on today, need to watch out for a few strong to severe storms, especially to the west with highs in the 80s.
Yeah, got to keep an eye out because there is that severe risk as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ronell. And we have much more news still to come. Meanwhile, we are live in Garden City on Kansas Today. Stay with us.
Your forecast first with KSN Storm Track 3, sponsored by X Services.
Good morning, Kansas. We are in day 4 of the KSN summer road trip, kicking things off in gorgeous Garden City, and we also have some active weather that we're expecting later on today.
This is Kansas Today on KSN News 3.
Good Thursday morning, Kansas, and thank you so much for starting your day with us. I'm Eddie Randall.
I'm Alexis Padilla.
And I'm meteorologist Ronell Williams.
Day 4 of the KSN Summer Road Trip 2023. We are live this morning in Garden City at Patrick Dugan's Coffee House. I just have to say, you can always tell when Ronell is so focused on the weather. He was just doing it. Alexis and I were sitting here, and we heard people in the back ordering sausage, egg, and cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese, and our eyes went up, and Ronell was in that weather.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't hear that at all. But now I'm going to ask.
I was about to say he's going to check on that.
Exactly.
But we do have another busy day ahead. Of course, kicking things off in Garden City, but we're going to be out and about once again as we go through the day ahead. Before we wrap up Kansas Today, we've already been taking pictures and talking to a bunch of people, so of course we'll continue to do so. Anybody in the Garden City area, we should be here all the way through maybe around 7:30 if somebody wants to stop by and say hi.
Yeah, and of course that we've been talking about that. We even talked about that in the car ride from the hotel over here this morning, that is something you are tracking.
Yeah, the entire team, not only keeping everybody updated out there, but also our KSN team. We're going to try to stay ahead of things, though.
Yeah. Well, let's do a recap of what we got to experience yesterday. So on Wednesday, our first stop was Hoxie. People are proud. It's the hometown of astronaut Nick Hague. Our meet and greet taking place at the Elephant Bistro and Bar. The owners opened the restaurant in 2018. They say during the COVID shutdown, the town really supported them.
Super supportive. I mean, everybody knew the situation we were in, so I don't think we boxed up so much food in our life. People were still ordering out like none other, so it was great.
She says as soon as they could reopen, it was like floodgates. Everyone came in so they could enjoy the food and cool atmosphere.
Our next stop on the KSN Summer Road Trip, the Graham County Auto and Art Museum in Hill City. For the second year in a row, we got to check out cars from all decades, including the 20s and the 30s. They even have one of Jackie Kennedy's old family cars on display, and we went live for KSN News at noon. A huge thank you to the museum board for cooking us lunch. And then we met dozens in Dighton at the city park. I got the chance to talk to some ladies who have lived in the town for decades. Some of the best conversations I've had, I must say. And me and one lady spent about 20 minutes talking about theater and musicals that we've both seen in both Wichita and Denver. And that is just one great part of this trip, just meeting the people throughout the state of Kansas. And just outside of Dighton, a short drive takes you to the Key Farm. The homestead created in 1885, a year before the creation of Lane County. The farm evolved into a seed business over the last 2 decades. One of the key pieces needed, a state-approved scale to weigh semis.
We wrapped up day 3 of the summer road trip in Scott City. We got to meet a lot of people. The town set up bounce houses, big games to play, and gave away free tattoos. Eddie got a nice Scooby-Doo one, and I had a little cactus. Very fun there. That's where Jeff, Julia, and Lisa hosted KSN News at 5 and 6. A source of pride for the town, a nationally recognized art museum. Jerry Thomas grew up in Scott City. He was an artist from birth, but really started putting pencil to paper after his athletic career was done. Thomas also collects artifacts, puts them on display at his gallery, and then incorporates them in his art.
It celebrates the passion and the work that I've done over the years to not only the collection, the paintings of the folks in the history, but also the work we've done for different things to protect historical camps, historical sites, over the years, and I'm very proud of that.
The gallery not only has Thomas's art, but also historic artifacts he's collected over the years.
When you brought up the tattoo, Alexis, it reminded me of the Connect 4 game that we played.
You don't have to bring
which
that
I
up.
won. I got to make sure that we say that. But we are starting day 4 of the KSN Summer Road Trip live in Garden City right here at Patrick Dugan's Coffee House. And there are so many different things to do in Garden City. Take a look at this video right here, and you can take the whole family to the Lee Richardson Zoo. And guess what? You can do it for free. It's on over 50 acres of land and home to more than 300 native and exotic animals.
And then starting to feel like summer, if you need to cool off, Garden Rapids is the perfect place. It used to be called the Big Pool. It was built in 1921, but by 2020, the pool needed an upgrade and got it with a $14 million renovation project. This marks the 3rd summer the Garden City community is enjoying the new pool.
Yeah, and we are having a great time out here live, guys. I can't. Did I mention that we played Connect 4 yesterday and I won? Did I mention that?
So we had 2 lovely ladies join us in that game. And you know, Eddie, it's a team effort. You said we were all winners.
We are all winners. But at the end of the day, there is one name at the top, or 2 names, and it was me and the woman that we played with. And unfortunately, you just came in right under that.
I want to rematch.
All right. Stay with Kansas today. We are live in Garden City. We have much more news ahead.
You're watching Kansas Today with Eddie, Alexis, and Ronell. Good morning.
And welcome back to Kansas Today, the Summer Road Trip 2023. We are live in Garden City here at Patrick Dugan's Coffee House.
Can you believe we've made it to day 4?
No. I couldn't believe we made it to day 3 yesterday, but we're still going. That's why I said you got your caffeine right there, and I'm hydrating. And once again, you guys got to fit some water in at some point in the day because it's going to be warm again.
Telling Ronell that I feel I'm having a little bit too much caffeine compared to water, so I need to be better about that today.
I don't know if I believe there is a such thing as too much caffeine. I basically live off of it, so that's something that I've been making sure I'm drinking all day long.
I just need you guys to hold me accountable for more water today.
We will. And I'll drink some more water too because Ronell said so. Okay. All right. Well, you guys, we ended the day yesterday in Scott City. It was absolutely beautiful. We were talking about all the fun that we had outside. But just about 30 miles north of Scott City is something you have to see to believe. Little Jerusalem Badlands, established as a state park in 2018. It has 100-foot tall rocks and cliffs made out of chalk, formed by sediment at the bottom of the inland ocean tens of millions of years ago. Just east of Little Jerusalem is Monument Rocks, also known for its chalk landmarks.
And the arts, a thing of life in Northwest Kansas. The Main Street Arts Council is a nonprofit founded in Hoxie in 2015. It puts on several events and workshops throughout the year, but it's zeroing in on theater. This year it's producing 6 children's musicals in Hoxie, Atwood, Goodland, Quinter, Colby, and Oakley.
We all experienced, having to go out of town to go to music camps and study music lessons, voice lessons, piano lessons. And we decided we're back home. Why can't we provide this opportunity for the next generation and share our love of music and the arts and performing with the kids?
Plays this year include Shrek Jr., The Lion King Jr., and Frozen Jr. Shows begin later this month.
And of course, we keep talking about the amazing weather that we have had this entire trip. It's been a lot cooler this year. We are here a month earlier. But of course, on the ride over from the hotel this morning, Ronell, you were telling us that while you're tracking our weather for the road trip, you're also looking at other states and other areas. And there's a severe threat. Yeah, nice to have that favorable weather since earlier this week. But we all know it's only a matter of time before things start to switch. And it's very important that we stay weather aware for later on today, especially if you live in western Kansas. Let's go ahead and get into that forecast now. I like to show all of our Skyview cameras an equal amount of love. Oh, time to get everybody out the door this morning. Things are going to be just fine all the way through the lunch hour, but later on today, please stay weather aware. Strong to severe storms being possible, especially in western Kansas. Time to give away another KSN Kansas Today mug, and today's winner is Sandy Miller. Congratulations to Sandy. And we are live back here at Patrick Dugan's Coffee House. It has been absolutely amazing. We are going to get you guys through a list of things that we still have to do for the rest of the day. Today, we go from Garden City to Ulysses, and then we will be at Bear Creek Coffee from 9 to 10 this morning.
Then we are in Dodge City for KSN News at noon, live from the Boot Hill Museum. Come on out and see us. After that, we will hit the road to Coldwater. We will be at the Heritage Park from 2:15 to 3:15.
And we end the day in Greensburg at the Big Well Museum. Julia, Jeff, and Lisa are live for KSN News at 5 and 6.
Yes, and this has been just a great time for us again. We've had the best crowd here with us at Patrick Dugan's.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but we are live here in Garden City, and we have to wrap up our time, but we have a lot on deck. And
all right, well, the Today Show is next. Go make it a great day.
Your forecast first with KSN Storm Track 3, sponsored by X Services.
Good afternoon and welcome to day 4 of the KSN Summer Road Trip. And look who has come out to see us at the Boot Hill Museum in the Dodge City area. We left Garden City, and you were in Garden City earlier this morning, weren't you?
Yes.
He was in Garden City. We went to Ulysses. Now we're in Dodge City. The fun has not ended just yet. We're going to continue on our way to Coldwater and then end the day over in Greensburg. Now, it is a beautiful day. It's warming up quite nicely. A little bit of wind, but we do have some severe weather to talk about. While we do have mainly sunny skies, who is going to continue to see those severe storm chances not only tonight, but also tomorrow night and again early this weekend, all coming up in your Storm Track 3 forecast live from Dodge City. Your news starts now.
This is KSN News 3 at noon.
The KSN Summer Road Trip. On day 4, our crew is making the turn east on its way back to Wichita. We find Julia Thatcher, Jeff Herndon, Eddie Randall, and Alexis Padilla at a party, sounds like, live at the Boot Hill Museum in Dodge City.
Well, howdy, y'all. Welcome to Dodge City, Kansas, USA, Boot Hill Museum. We got a show, guys.
Yeah, look at the applause we're getting. All right, clearly it's for the performers behind us. We are live right now in the new Variety Theater. They opened up not too long ago, actually over Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, we had the pleasure, some of us, of being here at the Boot Hill Museum last year, and of course, all week long, Alexis has been in my ear being like, I've never been to Dodge City, and I want to be here. So, what do you think?
I have loved it so far. The dancers and Miss Kitty were super nice, and excited to see some of the show after this a little bit.
Incredible performers as well.
Yes, and it's just been an eventful day. Eddie, Ronell, and I, we woke up early this morning. We had Kansas Today live from Garden City at the Patrick Dugan's Coffee House, and they just celebrated 15 years in business. It has a VIP mug club, so all members keep their cups at the shop. This morning we were joined by a special guest, Miss Garden City Fiesta, Heidi Aguilar.
And much like the music flowing, the coffee kept flowing when the whole crew joined us, and we stopped at Bear Creek Ulysses. The owners had no intention of opening a coffee shop, but they wanted to reinvest in the community and create a space where people can connect. And I can tell you guys, that's what everybody was telling us. It's a place home from home. Bear Creek used to be a grocery store. It's been open for 7 years.
Yeah, they really have accomplished that goal. And where Ulysses sits today, it's not where it originally started. The original town was home to 1,400 people. After a couple decades, it shrunk to about 40. So the town was moved a couple miles and named New Ulysses. And you can find out more about how that came to be at the historic Adobe Museum.
Younger children didn't grow up with the cowboys and Indians like we did. So, you know, we try to keep some of the homesteader stories alive, the cattlemen, the ranchers, the early people that came out here, the struggles that they endured. And, you know, hopefully these younger generations will appreciate what their forefathers have done to make this possible.
Hear some of those homesteader stories while we were out there. It was really neat. Another interesting nugget. You've heard of Christmas in July, but what about October? The museum transforms into a winter wonderland with thousands of lights and numerous trees. The director says December is their biggest month of the year.
Dozens of bikers going through Ulysses over the next week. The town is on the Race Across America route, and they're excited. Cyclists start in Oceanside, California. They bike more than 3,000 miles across 12 states, ending in Annapolis, Maryland. Now, volunteers will man a time station there in Ulysses 24 hours a day, welcoming the bikers to a fantastic little community of Ulysses. Yeah.
It was incredible. The drive up there was beautiful, and that's been a really special part as well, just getting to see all of these beautiful parts of our state.
I'm just watching Jeff try to contain himself from singing right now.
It's hard for me not to sing along. It really is. You're right, Eddie. I'm trying to contain myself over here.
Are you going to try for a can-can dancer spot?
I hear we're going to get a special show a little later here on KSN News at noon. So you want to stay tuned for that? We'll be right back.
You're watching KSN News 3 with Jason Lamb and weather with Storm Track 3. Now, your Storm Track 3 weather rate forecast.
Welcome back. The KSN summer road trip. It has definitely been a journey, starting off in Wichita on Monday morning. And after that, we've continued to move out to the west. We are now in the southwest part of our viewing area. We began the day in Garden City, went over to Ulysses, and I asked several of the folks in Ulysses what makes this town so great. And what they said, well, it's all because of the people. It is a giving community. After that, we have now made our way over toward the Dodge City area, and we have a little pup that's trying to escape over here. Hey, come over here. Come over here. Who is this pup? Rick, come on over here. Come on over. Come on. What's his name? Oreo. Oreo. Hi, Oreo. How are you? You're a sweetheart, aren't you? Okay, don't escape. Don't escape, that's for sure. Well, we are definitely keeping a close eye on the chances for severe weather here in the Dodge City area, across southwest Kansas, and also down into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. But many of our grandparents, our great-grandparents, have told us about the stories of the Dust Bowl era of the 1930s. I want to bring in meteorologist Ronell Williams, who is my road buddy this whole entire week, and tell us a little bit more about, in particular, 1935 and the Dodge City area.
Yeah, this was the month of April back in 35, and you said it yourself, Dust Bowl era, so let's keep that in mind with what I'm about to say. So there was a really bad dust storm here in Dodge City at that time, and Dodge City actually recorded about 14 days of dense dust, and during that time, during the middle of the day, there were times where it was as dark as midnight, and when it was time to clean up, they actually had to haul away the dust and then water off the streets with hoses.
No kidding. That would just be surreal to see something like that happen. And when we look at the dry times that we've had, the 1930s, the 1960s, we are coming out of a drought at this time that is similar to one that we had back in the 1960s. Well, if you look over here toward the American flag, you can see the winds are coming in from the south. That is that moisture supply. That's going to help feed in to the storms that we're expecting to see in some parts of our viewing area, in particular the southern part of Kansas. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Dodge City sky view. We'll see it from a different vantage point.
Welcome back to day 4 of the KSN Summer Road Trip 2023. We are live at the Boot Hill Museum here in Dodge City, having a good time.
Absolutely. We're going to give you a look at the variety show, and here in a second, those performers have to audition, and then they go through a rigorous process to make sure they're ready to perform in front of people. So we're going to give you a quick preview of it. Enjoy.
All right, folks, it's time that you've all been waiting for, the Can-Can!
Awesome.
I get why Jeff doesn't want to do it. He can't compete with them up there.
Yeah, past my prime. Yeah, they are so talented. Great job.
Absolutely. The cool thing, too, about the dancers, I was told a lot of it is generational, too. So they either have family members, somebody, one of the dancers on stage, her little sister, just performed her first show. So it's definitely a family thing out here.
All right, and we are just getting going today at noon. We still have 2 more stops on the KSN Summer Road Trip for day 4. When we're all done here at the Boot Hill Museum, you see my Southern coming out right there, we're going to be headed down to Coldwater. You can watch KSN News at 5 for my special story on a couple transforming an old building into an Airbnb and what made them choose Coldwater to make it all happen. And then we'll be at the Big Well Museum in Greensburg and find out what will be close to you on our website. Just go over to ksn.com.
And if you do come out, take a selfie with us, submit it on our website to be entered to win a road trip prize pack from Shields. It has a $50 Shields gift card, $100 gas card, cooler, tumbler, snacks, everything you need when you hit the road.
Yeah, Dodge City Boot Hill Museum, it does not disappoint.
It doesn't.
No.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Let's wrap up with this TV show by sending it out to Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman live in Dodge City.
We are going to see some changes here in southwest Kansas. We are located in the Dodge City area. This is also an area that needs to be weather aware over toward Garden City. If you look over my shoulder, you can actually see cumulus clouds that are now beginning to bubble up. And as we discussed this newscast and also earlier this morning with Ronell, highs today will be in the 70s and 80s. We're going to continue to keep you advised right here on the road trip and also back in the KSN studios throughout the afternoon and evening. We'll keep you advised ahead of the storm.
Your forecast first with Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman, sponsored by X Services.
Good evening. A potent storm system is moving into the plains. We are live in the Greensburg area. We started off with sunshiny skies. Winds are picking up, and if you look off into the distance, the skies are getting much darker. That's because those thunderstorms, while they started off individually, they have now congealed into a line, and they will continue to track to the east. Now, the farther east you live, you are still seeing more sunshine, but the cirrus clouds in the upper levels of the atmosphere will start to spread in your direction. We do have a tornado watch in effect for 3 of our counties. We will talk more about the track of this complex of thunderstorms, plus 2 more heading into the weekend in your full Storm Track 3 forecast. Your news starts now.
This is KSN News 3 at 5.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Hannah Adamson. Parts of western Kansas already feeling the effects of severe weather moving through the area. Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman live in Greensburg, keeping an eye on these storms. Lisa.
We have had multiple severe thunderstorm warnings and also tornado warnings. Those tornado warnings were previously in effect for Beaver and Texas counties in Oklahoma. So all forms of severe weather are on the table. Now here in Greensburg, we are not under a warning. We are not under a watch at this time, but this puts us in a prime position to watch what is coming in from the west. We started off with the cirrus shield, or the clouds in the upper levels of the atmosphere streaming in our direction, but see how dark it is? That is actually the thunderstorms that have been moving in western Kansas so far this afternoon. And as we take a live look with our Skyview camera in the Garden City, not to mention Coldwater, one of the spots on our KSN summer road trip that we were at just before coming here into the Greensburg area. Now we want to take a closer look at radar and those thunderstorms and where these storms are heading to next with meteorologist Lucy Dahl.
It's day 4 of the KSN summer road trip. Our crew had a full slate of stops in southwest Kansas today. Jeff Herndon and Julia Thatcher joining us live from the Big Well Museum in Greensburg. How's it going, guys?
Yes, the Big Well Museum, and Jeff Herndon is getting all the payback for the times they tried to get him in the bouncy house.
Oh, man, I am.
Yes.
My grandfather used to take me to this museum when I was a kid, old Bud Cox, and drag us out here. I want to give you an idea what this looks like. Kevin, come up, our photojournalist, Kevin Steebrel. You're looking at 109 feet. Oh, I don't like heights, but it is a sight to behold. Julia, this is one special place, and it is much more than just the world's largest hand-dug well.
It is absolutely incredible, and I'm sure even people at home, our executive producer, said she felt a little queasy when
standing right next to it.
I know, that's why I feel like it's payback, but we have a lot more coming up here. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're watching KSN News 3 with Jeff Herndon, Julia Thatcher, and Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman.
Welcome back to Greensburg, and welcome back to the Big Well Museum here in Greensburg.
Yeah, we stepped away from the ledge,
We did.
so
Look out a little far back, yeah.
very happy. We're going to give you a little bit of a walkthrough, a preview of what we saw this morning. We woke up bright and early, started in Garden City, then Ulysses, Bear Creek Coffee, a bustling place this morning. The owners tell us they had no intention of opening up a coffee shop, but they wanted to reinvest in the community and create a space where people connect. Next up, Dodge City. Jeff, Eddie Randall, Alexis Padilla, and I were live from the Boot Hill Museum Variety Show Theater for KSN News at noon. It is the longest running variety show in our nation. Miss Kitty and the Can-Can dancers can absolutely put on an incredible show.
What a welcome we received in Coldwater, by the way. Dozens met us at Heritage Park with treats in tow, delicious treats. We had baked goods from Aussie Bakers, owned by an Australian baker, super talented, and the Blonde Grill, so delicious, made cookies with our faces and road trip logo on them. I did eat my face. By the way, Greensburg, obviously you know this, one resilient town. May 4th, 2007, nation's first EF5 tornado tore through, destroying 95% of the city. In a matter of minutes, more than 1,400 homes and businesses gone. But don't count Kansans down and out. No, sir. The people of Greensburg poured blood, sweat, and tears into making their community whole again. But the work is never done.
We keep taking steps forward. You know, we have some new housing going in right now, a couple new businesses that are working on getting going. We're making some park improvements this year, continue development at our airport that's new since the tornado.
And this whole museum is filled with pieces of some of that destruction. Right here, you can see this is the siren that was sitting on top of City Hall the day that the tornado happened. That was May 4th. It blew through the night, warning people about the tornado. Also, you can see this sign here. This is one of the makeshift signs that was put up. And Jeff, I know you were here that night.
Yeah, working for another television station at the time. I was here just hours after the tornado came through, and I remember vividly, we're right outside on Sycamore Street. A few days after the tornado hit, I remember taking a tour with the Salvation, with the National Guard. He took us down Sycamore Street. We got a chance to look at all the destruction, and this museum brings back chills. It gives me some memories, and it's a place. This museum is not only a place to remind you of the tragedy that happened, but it's also a place of hope, and it documents the story of resilience and the rebuilding, and it does give you chills standing here amongst all of this debris and all of these displays.
It absolutely does, and a reminder of how powerful that weather can be. I know Lisa Teachman is standing by to give us a look at our forecast right now.
And we do have a new tornado warning in effect for Beaver County in Oklahoma until 6 o'clock. Those of you watching tonight in Perryton, please be in your safe places. Storm is tracking to the east at about 30 miles per hour. That is associated with the southern extension of a line of thunderstorms, and we're going to see those thunderstorms moving into the Greensburg area here within the next couple of hours. Coming up after the break in your Storm Track 3 forecast, we're going through our watches and our warnings, and also how this system is going to evolve for the rest of tonight as we look ahead to more chances for rainfall that could be severe in the weekend. Coming up next in your Storm Track 3 forecast.
Now your Storm Track 3 weather rate forecast with Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman.
Welcome back. We are live in Greensburg. Earlier this morning, as part of the KSN summer road trip across Kansas, we have been going through southwestern Kansas from Garden City to Ulysses to Dodge City and now here in the Greensburg area. We also stopped in Coldwater. Many of these communities now being impacted by the strong to severe thunderstorms that have taken root as this potent storm system moves through the plains. You can see the skies continuing to get darker as the winds are picking up. That strong southerly wind helping to aid in transporting that moisture to help feed the beast of this system, if you will. We do have a tornado watch in effect for 3 counties in Oklahoma. And 2 tornado warnings in effect for Beaver County in Oklahoma. One does include the city of Beaver. The other one, as Lucy is talking about, the report of the confirmed tornado in Perryton. So those of you in Beaver County, please continue to use those tornado safety precautions. Here's what's happening with those storms for the rest of this evening in Stormcasts. We are live in the Greensburg area. We will have more on our severe storm threat when we come back. In your Storm Track 3 forecast. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back. Now's your chance to help KSN give back to our community through a dignity drive. Tomorrow, as the last stop on the KSN summer road trip, we will be in Old Town Square collecting toiletry items for Giving the Basics. The organization works with local schools and other nonprofits to provide health items not covered by government assistance.
We just really hope that, by having access to these things, no matter what your circumstances are, that provides dignity.
Stop by Old Town Square tomorrow from 3 to 6:30. Bring deodorant, toilet paper, soap, or other toiletries, and spend some time with the KSN News crew. We'll be reporting live there for the 4, 5, and 6 o'clock newscasts. Find the complete details on KSN.com. We'll be right back.
Your forecast first with Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman, sponsored by X Services.
Good evening. We are live in the Greensburg area. We've been moving through southwestern Kansas and tracking a line of severe thunderstorm warnings. We've also had tornado warnings so far this evening. Now, we are located live here in the Greensburg area. We just heard the tornado sirens go off. They only pumped once, then they were shut off. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the Greensburg area and Kiowa County until 7 o'clock this evening. As you look off to the west, this is going to be the line of thunderstorms that will be moving in and capable of producing winds from 60 to more than 70 miles per hour. Plus, we could also have some large hail. We can see that line coming in from the west over toward the downtown area. It will take a few more hours as it gets closer to Wichita. We'll continue to follow these storms as they move into the central and eastern portions of the state later tonight. We will have more on our severe storm risk for tonight, and also 2 more chances for severe weather over the coming days in your full Storm Track 3 forecast. Your news starts now.
This is KSN News 3 at 6.
And one of the main concerns with this line of thunderstorms, of course, will be the damaging wind potential. We've already seen some wind gusts exceed 60 to 65 miles per hour. The winds right now here in the Greensburg area, they have calmed down. They were definitely packing a punch this afternoon, pumping that moisture in to help feed this line of thunderstorms. And as we've been watching it come in, you can see the ominous looking clouds. As we go over toward the Dodge City area, they've also been experiencing these severe thunderstorms. Our Skyview camera showing the rain that is falling in that part of our viewing area. This is the reason why several more counties closer to the Kansas-Oklahoma state line have been added just to the west of the Wichita area, and that is going to be for those stronger winds. I want to bring in meteorologist Lucy Dahl for a closer look at radar and where these warnings are now and where these storms are heading to next. Lucy.
Day 4 of the KSN summer road trip coming to an end. Our team making their way back toward Wichita. But first, they made a stop in Greensburg. Jeff Herndon and Julia Thatcher live from the Big Well Museum. How's it going, guys?
Welcome to the Big Well Museum here in Greensburg. Julie, I used to come here with my grandfather, Bud Cox, when I was a kid, clearly before it was destroyed by the Greensburg tornado. It has since been rebuilt, obviously, and the Big Well is still here. And to get the scope of this thing, Kevin, our photojournalist, this is, if you haven't been here since it's been rebuilt, you owe it to yourself to come out and see this place because, Julia, it is not only the world's largest hand-dug well, there's so much more in this building to see.
It was fun to hear some of your own stories of coming here as a kid and, you know, the funny part of thinking it was physically hand-dug. So you shared some fun stories, but just the walls, I mean, there's so much history on the walls. So, Jeff, you said it, if you've not had a chance to come out here, it's beautiful and it's powerful, and everybody, of course, in town has a story, and it's been really special to hear.
We've been able to talk to some of the folks here in Greensburg about those stories. And each one is unique, and each one is really amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, that just encompasses what it is. Welcome back to KSN on our Shield Summer Road Trip. We are in Greensburg, our final stop for today. A fun part that I didn't expect on this year's Summer Road Trip was getting to hear all of Jeff's stories of memories when he grew up, including being here at the Big Well Museum.
I have a million stories, Julia. How much time do you have? Well, we still have another day of the road trip.
So save it for that.
I'll just save it for next year. Earlier today, though, we were in Ulysses. Now, it is the perfect place for those who love a little paranormal in their lives. Just a couple of miles outside of town sits the old Red Rock Elementary School. Built in 1947, students learned there for 7 decades. The owners say it is haunted.
Just a few months ago, somebody called us and they said, see, there it goes again. They said, hey, you guys have a great prop out there. And we're like, what are you talking about? Oh, the little girl out front, that's a great prop. There's no prop out front. There's nothing there. We've never used any props.
Well, that gives me chills. Just to see that. By the way, the school is one of the top 10 haunted spots in Kansas, and you can take ghost tours throughout the year.
Ooh, maybe next year. All right, something a little less spooky. The Kansas Teacher Hall of Fame in Dodge City. It started in the late 70s as a way to honor some of our state's great educators.
When people visit the Kansas Teachers Hall of Fame, what they want them to see are the legends of learning, how important education is and was and continues to be.
More than 400 teachers have been inducted into the Hall of Fame. This year's class includes teachers from Hutch, Hayes, Russell, and Smith Center. We'll be right back.
Congrats, Stephen. You're today's winner of a KSN umbrella. Perfect day in parts of Kansas for one of those. Let's check in one last time with the KSN Summer Road Trip crew in Greensburg. How's it going, guys?
Chief Meteorologist Lisa Teachman joining us inside now.
And the reason for that, the lightning was a little too close for comfort, but now it is starting to rain in the Greensburg area, and the line is starting to catch up with us. And we are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 7 o'clock, Kiowa County and the city of Greensburg until 7, and that's going to be for those winds to 60 miles per hour, plus tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches also in effect through this evening.
All right, that's going to do it for day 4 of the big KSN Summer Road Trip.
You can wake up with Eddie Randall, Alexis Padilla, and meteorologist Ronell Williams at In Cahoots Coffee and Shop in Pratt. And then we're off to Stafford, Newton, and for the first time ever, we're headed to Wichita.
It's going to be fun. Come on down to Old Town outside the Warren. You can meet us, drop off some toiletries. We're doing a dignity drive for Giving the Basics from 3 o'clock until 6:30.
Every month it kind of varies a little tiny bit. We always need deodorant. We always need toilet paper. Right now we're a little bit low on bar soap. We could use more bar soap and tampons.
So again, we're going to be at Old Town Square. That's tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock to 6:30. Come on by, drop off some supplies, and you can meet the whole KSN road trip crew. We're all going to be there. You can find complete details on our website at ksn.com. Guys, I've had another fantastic day on this KSN Summer Road Trip. Today was amazing.
And now we need to get ahead of this line.
Yeah, we do. We do.
We can hear that rain coming down right on top. And I know, Jeff, you got a chance to go upstairs and see just beautiful architecture.
You would have to spend hours in this in the Bigwell Museum to see everything. It's there's so much here that you don't notice when you come in and that you find as you're going through it.
And that's why I said architecture, because every little piece of detail, I mean, and there are beautiful quotes on the walls, and so it really is just a look at the history here.
And the history of the tornado that did hit the Greensburg area. There's things that I didn't know that I learned when I came to the well this evening. So definitely come down and check it out, and also stay weather aware for this evening, please.
Yeah, and quickly tomorrow, Stafford and Newton.
All right, that's it for us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
Day 4 of the KSN Summer Road Trip is now in the books, and boy, what a day it was. After starting off the morning in Garden City, the first stop of the day was the town of Ulysses. Now, if you're looking for ghosts, the old Red Rock Elementary School there is considered one of the state's top 10 haunted spots. Tours are offered throughout the year, and if you're lucky, maybe you will experience something paranormal.
They love to play ball. It's very well known that they will roll the balls back and forth to people. We've heard singing, and we've seen full-blown apparitions out here.
She says its most famous ghostly resident is a little girl many people report seeing. After Ulysses, it was on to that famous frontier town of Dodge City. Our road trip crew was there at noon for live shots from the Boot Hill Museum Variety Show Theater. The museum there showcases thousands of artifacts from the Old West, including more than 200 original guns. The final stop of the day was Greensburg. The town and its residents have come a long way in the 16 years since the F5 tornado that nearly wiped it off the map. Greensburg City Administrator says that even though much has changed, the city is not done yet.
It's taken 16 years to get to where we are today, and we're not done. We continue to move forward and work on new projects It's not a couple years and you're done. We just continue to move forward.
The final day of the KSN summer road trip starts bright and early tomorrow. Start your morning with KSN's Eddie Randall, Alexis Padilla, and meteorologist Ronell Williams as they go live from a coffee shop in Pratt with a pretty fun name.
I'm Alexis Padilla.
And I am Eddie Randall. We have wrapped on day 4 of the KSN Summer Road Trip 2023. We started bright and early this morning in Garden City and ended here in Pratt.
We are live here at Incoods Coffee and Shop tomorrow morning starting at 6 on Kansas Today. This is the second year in a row we're visiting this coffee shop.
Join us for our final day of the KSN Summer Road Trip.
Can't wait, guys. Taking a look now at the rest of Friday's road trip schedule. After the stop in Pratt, it's off to Stafford from 9 to 10 a.m. We will be live in downtown Newton for KSN News at noon, and then it's back here in Wichita for live shots at 5 and 6 from Old Town.